Welcome into Brady's Breakdown, the Five Reasons Sports Network. I'm Brady Hawk, and we're going to be diving into some more film today, this time on the Miami Heat's win over the Houston Rockets. When looking over some of this stuff, the one thing that kind of stood out is that Miami basically won this game offensively with one play, and that's what we're going to talk about here. So let's get right into it. As we see right here, uh, they're going to set a double on ball screen, and that's the play that we're going to be talking about over and over because they basically ran that into the ground with the two players screening right now are the two guys that are utilized the entire time, Duncan Robinson and Precious Achua, and Andre Iguodala is the ball handler. This is a minute and a half into the game. And Andre Iguodala was basically the point guard for most of the time he was on the floor. Without Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo on the floor, those two guys are basically their point guards. So Andre Iguodala took that role, and he was huge for them. He was their facilitator. He was the guy that got them going offensively. So as we see right here on this double ball screen, Duncan pops out, Precious Achua rolls, and you see the room he has down low. Andre Iguodala makes the pass, gets it to him. Precious Achua throws it down. Next play, we have another Andre Iguodala move. If we go back a little bit, he's guarding Kelly Olynyk in the post, and if there's one thing you know about Andre Iguodala in a situation like this where he's guarding the guy one-on-one is you know what his next move is. And as we look right here, it's slapping the ball down, somehow not getting a foul, and playing on. It's something that he's known for throughout his career. He's been very good at. He's a very good soul defender for his size. He's a good post defender, no matter the guy that is posting him up. So as we see there, he did that, runs down the floor. Now he's setting up offense for them again in the first quarter. And as we see, if we go back a little bit, this is the part of Kendrick Nunn's game that is really taking a jump. We're seeing him in more catch and shoot situations than he was in his rookie year, than he was earlier in this season. And he's probably one of Miami's better catch and shoot guys on the court, obviously, other than Duncan Robinson. So as we see here, Precious Achua goes immediately down and sets an off ball screen for Kendrick Nunn. Nunn immediately pulls and knocks it down. So we're seeing defense to offense once again, which is what Miami wants to kind of base what they want to do as their identity. Another one, we're going to see it again. We're seeing the double on ball screen. Andre Iguodala flows into it. There's nothing there. He kind of pulls it out, flows into a dribble handoff, as we see right here. And Duncan Robinson's going to come off the screen. Now, this is where Duncan Robinson is going to make his next leap. It's something we haven't seen much of this year, and I expected it to see, a little bit sooner. But as we're seeing when he has to step up in a certain area, he has done it, as we see last night. Right here, once again, go back a little bit. He receives the ball, immediately pulls up at the elbow and knocks it down. When he has a consistent mid-range jumper on the move like that, that takes his game to a whole nother level. That's pretty clear. When he gets to the rim, he's pretty efficient over there in that area. And when he can just get there time and time again, that's when he's really going to make that, next move in his game. Okay, let's go to the next one. We're seeing Andre Iguodala again with the ball in his hands, which is something you're going to see a lot. And we're going to look right here. We're going to look where Duncan Robinson is getting the ball right now. This is what I mean when I say Duncan Robinson is spacing himself out a few feet behind the three-point line because teams are crowding him. And you can see his defender is not leaving him no matter where he is, even if he's at the logo right now. And that's what I asked him about after the game yesterday. And he talked about not only getting more space for himself, but getting more space for teammates, which is always what's going to happen when he spaces out. So as we see, he receives the ball, flows into a pick and roll. The thing is, Precious Achua comes over to kind of set a screen. I think it would have been a little bit better if he kind of spaced down the other side, let Duncan Robinson navigate in the open court, because as we see right now, Trevor Ariza is wide open for a three, especially if Precious Achua wasn't, grabbing more defenders in that area. So Duncan Robinson feeds it into Precious. Still, what ends up happening, they draw defenders, ends up in a Trevor Ariza three. He misses, but they're generating good looks, and that's basically what they want to do, especially when you're without Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero. The key with their offense is seeing if they can draw good looks, and that's what they basically did. Let's go to the next one now. Goran's in, Dwayne Dedmon's in, who had a very good game yesterday, doing what he does well consistently, which he does not sway off into different roles. He plays his role to perfection, as we see here. He immediately goes into a pick and roll with Goran. Goran feeds it to him on the pocket pass. And as we see right here, as we go back a little bit, he notices the defender kind of make that one initial step right there. And once he sees that, he's a veteran, he's a high IQ player, immediately goes out to pass it to his guy. Max Strus misses a three. And as we see right here, he's battling on the offensive boards time and time again, gets the foul call, and that's what he's going to do. That's his identity on this team, is to basically be a backup big for Bam make it known on the offensive boards, which he's done a very good job of in his 2 games here. And he looked pretty efficient last night as well with another uh, high efficiency night. Let's go to the next one. This is more of that Kendrick Nunn making moves in that certain area, making improvements in different areas. As much as we're going to talk about his, catch and shoot abilities, his shooting abilities on a 30-point night, this is really where he's going to make uh, that next leap that they've missed that consistent attacker. That's what Victor Oladipo was brought here to do, other than, defend. He was brought here to attack, be that secondary attacker to Jimmy Butler. And this is what Kendrick Nunn does right here. Off the dribble, takes a guy to the rim, and gets it to go. It's simple. There's nothing really to break down here, but this is something that Kendrick Nunn has really missed. He's needed this part of his game, and taking guys off the dribble with no screen needed is going to be important for him, moving forward. The next one is the play that I'm talking about that they're going to basically run into the ground last night, and it was working efficiently. Is this one right here, the double on ball screen? Once again, consisting of Duncan Robinson and Precious Achiuwa. Kendrick Nunn this time as the ball handler. And as we see, Duncan pops out, Precious goes. Precious was open right here. Kendrick Nunn probably could have fed him, but obviously the defender kind of reacted. Duncan ends up receiving it. It goes back in to Precious. As we see, they're gonna reset right here. And once again, Duncan Robinson receiving the ball a few feet behind the 3-point line. He's setting up back there because if he cannot stand at the line, because teams will just be hounding him. Now he's going to flow right back into a pick and roll. Kelly Olynyk steps up. He steps up as well. So now that basically means there's going to be an open offensive player with the defense, a 3-on-2 opportunity. Precious Achiuwa gets it. He drives. He makes the right read, passes out to Trevor Ariza for a good look. And even though it didn't end up in a make, it's just a good possession to get an open look and the things that Duncan Robinson basically draws for their offense time and time again. Another one, we're going to see the same type of thing. Now, once again, Duncan Robinson is setting the double screen with Precious Achiuwa. This time, you're going to see the defender, Nunn's defender, go under the screen. And that's something you're not going to want to do on a night that Kendrick Nunn has 30. Kendrick Nunn makes him pay. He goes right up into his 3-point motion, knocks it down. Once again, and go back a little bit, different other side now, double on ball screen. Kendrick Nunn goes, reads it, gets it to Precious Achiuwa. Precious Achiuwa takes it up strong, keeps fighting on the boards, and it's something he's going to need to do. Even though it looks like his role is kind of diminishing with Dwayne Dedmon stepping in and doing what he's doing well as a backup big. Precious is making the little things that he's going to need to progress on without the G League, without a summer league. He's, basically been thrown into the fire. He's playing a role he's never played before. Looking into his high school career, his college career, he's always had much bigger roles. So kind of strapping him down is obviously, him trying to make that change. And, even though there's, we pick out the negatives a lot of time in his game, he's doing the little things that he stepped up and kind of been an offensive, plug player that he can run a system and not have many issues in that area. The last thing is, this is another one in the third quarter. It's another area of Duncan Robinson's game that's going to be, has been improving since the beginning of the year. This was an important thing for him with defenders flying out and doubling and blitzing out at him. He needs to be able to not only read it, but be able to make these type of passes. And as I go back here, we see it again. Dedmon sets an off-ball screen. Duncan gets it, 2 defenders. Obviously he has to make this pass. It was a pass he was unable to make much last year. Right here, makes the pocket pass to Dedmon. Dedmon gets a dunk on back-to-back possession. So all this type of thing that we're seeing with him continuing to make, strides in these areas. On a night he shot the ball well, but the little things he's doing without his primary guys that basically gets him to his flow with Butler and Bam, he played pretty well. So thank you for watching Brady's Breakdown. Leave a comment. Tell me what you want me to discuss next time. See you soon.